Welcome to another installment of the ICE commentary looking at the Russell and other US index futures. My name's Craig Cobb from Trade with Precision and I'm filling in for Nick this week. Guys, it's been a very interesting couple of weeks and finally a resolution has been made. We've found ourselves with the US markets now bouncing back. There's been strength found in the fact that the US is not going to default for the time being, and it extends the meetings out for quite some time. The US can pay their debts. It's all good and the market's seen that as very, very positive. Everyone's gone back to work and it just seems to be business as usual now. Now, coming across and looking at these charts and how the reaction from the general public and the traders and the investors of the world has sort of taken it, you can see here on the Russell we just saw a lot of strength coming in. To be fair, there's nothing really more to be said about it. As soon as that resolution was reached, we just kept on charging higher. Now, if we look at the monthly, Nick and myself have been talking about it for quite some time. And look, we had a really good long conversation on Friday, and we're both of the same opinion, on our analysis of all the index futures at the moment. To be fair, that it's quite extended. That the monthly is quite extended. So. And as we talk of, as Nick talks of and I talk of, the further away from these moving averages that we see the price getting, the more likely there is of that pullback. It will pull back at some stage. Now, it's not my job to tell you exactly when it's going to pull back. Okay, of course we look to predict these types of things, but at the moment, as a trader, I'm looking to join this trend and continue to follow it until it shows signs of weakness. Coming and looking at the weekly. Now we can see here the mention of pull back into this zone, pull back into the moving average zone, moves away, pull back in again, moves away. And Nick would have talked about it last week, the pull back in here and a rejection of that. And since then we've seen this candle last week break the high and just keep pushing higher. Now again, we are a little bit away from the averages. We're not too overextended right now. We still have plenty of room for the Russell to move higher based on this weekly chart. And the trend is very, very strong. The pattern keeps on playing out, the move keeps on happening, and there is a lot of strength there, a lot of buyers involved. Coming down onto the daily now. Looking at it as we see it right now, it has continued to set higher high, higher low, higher high. And look, I'm very bullish on the Russell, but I would like to see a pullback to this equilibrium level, back into these moving averages would be fantastic. So in somewhere around here would be great. Possibly it might, in and around this, 1080-ish level would certainly be a nice place for it to pull back to, and we could see that next week. However, the trend remains strong, so opportunities to the long side will present themselves, I'm sure, in the coming weeks. Especially the week coming ahead. Now I'm going to show you some other index futures first, and we're going to go straight ahead and look at some of these cash markets, and we're going to look at the Dow. The Dow has been by far the most weak of the index futures, and if we look at the monthly here, the trend is still intact. We still got pull back in, move away, pull back in, move away, pull back in, but we've just seen a consolidation over the last month or two, I suppose, where prices just sort of hung around. Sorry, the last sort of 5 months, I should say. Prices just consolidated in and around this 15,000 level, and not really come out of there with any real momentum. Coming down on the weekly, what it shows is exactly this. We're sort of range bound, to be fair, on the YM contract, or sorry, on the Dow. Looking through here and here, you can see bounce to the low, up to the high, back to the low, up to the high, back to the low, and we're currently in that progression moving back towards these highs. Now, because of this, it's not showing a lot of strength. If we go and have a look at the S&P 500, you'll see a much, much stronger index, and it's much more in agreement with what we're seeing there on the Russell. The Russell still looks more bullish than the S&P, but looking at the monthly here, same thing. It has moved away. It has broken to new highs just this month. The weekly has done the same. We've got these lower highs and lower lows. Sorry, higher highs and higher lows coming in. The higher low, higher low, higher low. Bullish candle in the zone, move. Bullish candle in the zone, move. It still looks very, very bullish. And down on the daily, you'll see here that the sell-off on the S&P was not quite as strong as the Dow, but it was a lot more than the Russell. But now we've just made a new higher high. Our averages are fanning quite nicely, and we have had a strong move. Still looking like we could see a pullback. And then finally, the Nasdaq, also a very strong index at the moment, and showing more sign of strength here. Again, it does look extended on the monthly, there's no doubt about it. Same thing on the weekly. It's been pulling back, it's moved away. It's had a very strong move last week, and it does look overextended. Actually, it probably looks the most overextended on the daily, to be fair, and a pullback is due. So what does all this mean? I'll come back to the Russell and I'll wrap this up. I'm bullish on the Russell. I'm very bullish on the Russell, but I need to see a pullback to continue this trend to be healthy. Now, I'm bullish this week. I'm looking for opportunities. If I can get a pullback into these sorts of levels here, into this 1080-ish level, then that would be very bullish on the higher time frame on the daily. But if we go down to lower time frames, because I'm sure that there will be good opportunities throughout the week, things that I'll be looking for is this. If I put the 60-minute up in front of you, you'll see this 1,100 level in here. Now the weekly pivot is going to change shortly, as will the daily ones when they print and when the market opens. What we can see here is the monthly pivot, which will remain for the remainder of October, right in and around that 1,100 level. Now I like these types of things because I've got a round number and I've got a pivot point there as well. I'll be looking for opportunities if we can get down to 1,100 for buying opportunities. Now if we just continue to move higher, I'll be looking for opportunities to join the party long. As I say, I am very bullish on the Russell. I do think we could be up for a pullback next week just because it is quite extended and we could be due for it. Okay, but guys, definitely a very strong market out there. Business as usual in the US. It's good to have that uncertainty taken away from the markets, and we'll just see how that plays out. Have a fantastic week of trading. Bye for now.